You can bring in experts like ourselves at TLux. I said we do this every day of the week. Somewhere around the world, pretty much every day, we're helping clients de-risk their migration from an old installer, perhaps through M&A activity, perhaps through needing just to bring everything up to speed, perhaps through a problem with deployment. We probably all have this where a very important client had a problem migrating or using your product, and it was kind of manageable up until that point. And then suddenly a big client had a problem, so you've got to do something about it. What you don't want to be, though, is forced into making that decision, because doing that under duress, under stress, isn't going to be as well formed as when you're doing it in a slightly calmer environment with good foresight. So, baking in the best practice to accelerate this migration from wherever, be it a non-install shield installer, right? It might, we talk about an installer, it might be a batch file, it might be a bunch of instructions, but it's more likely to be an old installer from the past. And again, something else we see quite often is people having to merge products into one install base because of M&A activity or just product merging. You probably get this push for, right? There's all kinds of things that Revenera has technology-wise. You need to put that into the product as a single entity, right?
Yes. So, uh,
Sure.
so you're talking about, we always upkeep ourselves with the new technologies, and like you mentioned, we are much ahead of the industry trend here to bring in the latest from Microsoft, different packaging ways, and uh, be ready as soon as, for example, Windows Server 2025 is gonna come. They just pre-releases there, but we are already testing and getting ourselves ready to support our customers to build and pack for, be ready for Windows Server 2025.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of my points earlier was exactly the same, where, Revenera with the Installshield product, they're always a set amount of time ahead to make sure that you and us as a technology provider have got the latest and greatest. And these things are always changing. This is the classic thing. My third point here, you know, 10 years ago, working with clients on installers was all about .NET this, .NET that, right? And .NET grew and well, it grew and grew and grew. It was massive, and then there were loads of language packs. I think there's about 50 different merge modules pushed, isn't it? I think now with .NET, it's like, oh, it just is a blur. Um, but actually, things are changing where companies or Microsoft, frankly, are realizing there needs to be a more succinct way to deploy this and giving people that choice.
Yep.
And then that brings us down to automating. Everyone loves to automate, but all being able to do more with less. Automation is a great way to do these things, building in the cloud, building overnight, giving your software development team a folder to drop their binaries into, and a script will pick it up automatically. That's fantastic, as long as you manage it. And it's fantastic as long as it's got some constraints and some rules around what it does. If it's not, then you've got the Wild West, right? And that's not good in any way. So really, my last point here, I think, syncing up with Pushpa's perspective, because this is what they do at Revenera, building in a periodic technology and release review to make sure you're ahead of the game, or just ahead of the game wherever you need to be, is very, very important.